Hi students, good afternoon. Welcoming everyone to the English class. So let us see the figures of speech in the poem Once Upon a Time by Gabriel Okara. So we have already completed the poem in the previous videos. So let us see the figures of speech in this poem. So already you might have learned about the figures of speech in your previous classes. So the most common figures of speech familiar to you is simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, oxymoron, and so these might be the common figures of speech which might be known to you very well. Okay, now let us see what are the figures of speech in this poem Once Upon a Time. So first of all, let us see about the simile. So what is a simile? So what is a simile? Simile is a figure of speech which is very simple, one among the figures of speech. Okay, so in this, a direct comparison will be made between the two things. Okay, direct comparison. So the comparative words used will be as and like. So in a poem line, if you are finding these two words as and like, you can easily identify that the figure of speech in that line is simile. Okay, so here an open comparison, a direct comparison will be made between the two things, right? Let me give you some example. So let me give you some examples. See, for example, you were as brave as a lion. You were as brave as a lion. Okay, so you are as brave as a lion. So what is the comparative word used here? As. So someone is, a person is compared to a lion. So what is compared? His bravery. A person's bravery is compared to the braveness of a lion. Okay, and also what is the comparative word used here? As is used here. So it is an example for simile. Okay, and one more example. She looks like a beautiful flower. Okay, so a girl is compared to the flower. Okay, so what is the comparative word used here? Like. Okay, so these are the examples of simile. Now let us see what are the figures of speech, that is what are the similes in this poem. See, what are the similes here in this poem? So in the first stanza there is no simile. In the second stanza also we cannot find any simile. So now come to the third stanza. So in the third stanza also there are no similes. And look at the fourth stanza. Like a I have learned to wear many faces like dresses. Okay, see, I have learned to wear many faces like dresses. So faces were compared to many faces were compared to many dresses. Okay, so what is the figure of speech? So what is the comparative word used here? The comparative word which is used here is like. So the figure of speech in this line is simile. Okay, so here we can find a simile. Okay, see the next one. With all their comforting smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Okay, so the poet has learned to smile fakely like the fixed smile in a portrait which is hanging on the wall. So what is the poet's fake smile is compared to the smile in the portrait. Okay, the poet Gabriel Okara's fake smile is compared to the smile of the portrait which is fixed. Okay, so what is the comparative word used here? Again a like is used here. So the figure of speech in this is simile. So we can find two simile in this stanza. So next one. And I have learned to laugh. Okay, so in this line there is no simile. In this stanza, let us go for the next stanza. See here, what I want to be, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. Who was like whom? When the poet was very young like his son. Okay, so he wants to have all those qualities. Okay, so again like is used here. So the figure of speech is simile here. Okay, and one more. And we can find one more figure of speech in this line. I need it. Shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. Okay, so shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. So the teeth of the poet. So when he is laughing in front of the mirror, his reflection is like the poisonous teeth of a snake. Okay. So the poet's laugh in the mirror is compared to the, so the poet's teeth when he is smiling at the mirror is compared to the poisonous fangs, that is teeth of the snake. The comparative word used here is like. So again the figure of speech in this line is simile. So in this stanza also we can find two figures of speech employed, right? So let us see in the last stanza. So once upon a time when I was like you. So here the poet says once upon a time when he was like his son. You refers to the son, I refers to the poet. Okay. So when I was like you. So again the comparative word like is used here to compare between the poet's childhood with his son's childhood. So again the figure of speech in this line is simile. So we can find one simile and again 2 and again 3 and here 4 and here 5. So totally we can find 5 similes in this stanza, in this poem, right? So let us go for the next one. So the next one is metaphor. Okay, so ice block cold ice. Okay, so the figure of speech in this line is metaphor. Okay, let us see what is mean by metaphor. Okay, so what is a metaphor? So we have seen simile as a direct comparison. So metaphor is a, so what is metaphor is? Metaphor is a hidden comparison. That is, comparison will be hidden. The comparison will not be directly made as in the simile. In the simile we can find the comparative words as and like. So we can say it as a direct comparison, but in the metaphor we cannot find the comparative words directly, so that's why we call it as a hidden comparison. For example, he is a shining star. He is a shining star. Okay, so here the figure of speech is metaphor. So how it is metaphor is, he is a shining star. So he is shining like a star. Okay, so here the comparative word is not given directly. Instead the comparison is hidden as the comparative word is not given directly. So he is a shining star. Okay, so here the figure of speech is metaphor. Okay, one more example. The falling snowflakes are dances. Okay, the falling snowflakes na nothing but pani abdi and the white color la pani vilum illaya, that is called as snowflakes. The falling snowflakes are dances. Okay, so இது எப்படி மெட்டஃபருக்கு எக்ஸாம்பிள் அப்படின்னா, the falling snowflakes na அந்த பனி நிறைய ஹெவியா பனி பெய்யும்போது அது அப்படியே white கலர்ல feathers மாதிரி அந்த பனி வந்து அப்படியே float ஆகி கீழே விழும் இல்லையா so அதோட அந்த 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 snowfall விழுது இல்லையா that is compared to the dance of a dancer dancers dance ஆடும்போது எப்படி இருக்குமோ அவங்களோட ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எப்படி இருக்குமோ அந்த மாதிரி and the snowflakes are falling from the that is floating in the air and it is falling down okay so that is the comparison made here the comparison is made between the snowflakes and the dancers so the falling snowflakes are like dancers so but here the comparative word is not given directly that's why the figure of speech here is metaphor so the simple difference between simile and metaphor is in simile the comparison will be direct and in the metaphor the comparison will be hidden okay so this is the difference between simile and metaphor now let us see how ice block cold ice is an example of metaphor so this is an example of metaphor so ice block cold ice is an example of metaphor so what is the meaning of this first of all so the ice block cold ice means ice lacking a feeling of warmth or expression okay ice lacking the feeling of warmth or expression that is the meaning of ice block cold ice okay so இதை ஏன் ஐஸை வந்து இந்த ஐஸ் இஸ் கம்பேர்டு டு இந்த ஐஸ் அப்படின்னா ஐஸ் எப்படி ஃப்ரீஸாக இருக்குமோ அந்த மாதிரி ஓகே நம்மளோட ஐஸில் அந்த என்ன சொல்கிறது அந்த ஹோல் ஹார்ட்டட்னஸ் அந்த எமோஷன்ஸ் ஓகே ஃபீலிங்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் இல்லாததுனால இட் இஸ் ஆல்சோ லுக்கிங் வெரி cold because of lack of love and warmth okay so that's why our human beings eyes are compared to the ice okay so eyes எப்படி freeze ஆயிருக்குமோ likewise human beings eyes are also very cold frozen because of the lack of warmth or any feelings understand so that is the meaning so our eyes are cold like human beings eyes are cold like the ice okay so that is the comparison made so here no comparative word is used comparative word use பண்ணலனாலும் a comparison is made between ice and eyes ice that's why the figure of speech here is metaphor and also we can find homophones in this so what is the homophone in this eyes and eyes is the homophone what is a homophone homo means same phone means sound words with same sound and same pronunciation but with a different spelling is called as a homophone so we can say suppose if they are asking what is the homophone you can find in this line you can write eyes and eyes right okay let us go for the next figure of speech in this poem so the next figure of speech in this poem is it is given in the 5th stanza of this page okay and shake hands without my heart I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance okay I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance to say glad to meet you without being glad and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored okay so the figure of speech in this line is paradox okay so the figure of speech in this line and in this line and it's been nice talking to you after being bored so in the figures of speech in these lines are called as paradox okay so let me explain you what is mean by paradox right okay listen so paradox is also a figure of speech. Okay. So paradox, P-A-R-A-D-O-X, paradox. Okay. So paradox is also a figure of speech. What is the meaning of paradox is a contrasting sentence or phrase which may have different subject or different ideas. That is called as paradox. So here how can we say it as a paradox? So paradox is a contrasting sentence or a phrase. So what is the contrast here means? I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. So here there is a contrast. Glad to meet you without being glad. And it's been nice talking to you after being bored. நிஜமாவே போர் அடிச்சது இருந்தாலும் nice talking to you ன்னு சொல்றாரு. நிஜமாவே ஹாப்பியா இல்லை அவரை மீட் பண்ணதில் இருந்தாலும் glad to meet you ன்னு சொல்கிறாங்க. எப்படா போவாங்கன்னு இருந்தது குட் ரிட்டன் சொல்கிறதுக்கு பதிலாக they are telling goodbye. So this is the contrast between these two phrases. Is it or not? Let me give you one more example. So listen. So what is a paradox is a contrasting sentence or a phrase. Okay, a contrast in meaning. Contrasting sentence or phrase is called as paradox. Okay. So here I'll give you an example. Truth is honey which is bitter. Truth is honey which is bitter. Okay, so truth is honey which is bitter. So listen here. Truth இந்த மாதிரி honey மாதிரி. honey na எப்படி இருக்கும்? It will be very sweet. So bitter na எப்படி இருக்கும்? The bitter taste is opposite to the taste of the sweet இல்லையா? So there is a contrast made between these sentence. இதை எப்படி சென்டென்ஸ்னு சொல்கிறீங்க மிஸ் அப்படின்னா ட்ரூத் இஸ் ஹனி இஸ் one sentence. So இங்கே which is a relative pronoun. So truth is bitter is another sentence இல்லையா? Truth is honey is one sentence. So which is a relative pronoun which is relating these two sentence. So truth is bitter is one more sentence இல்லையா? So there is a contrast between these two sentence. இந்த ரெண்டு சென்டென்ஸ்க்கும் ஒரு கான்ட்ராஸ்ட் இருக்குது. ஏன்னா ஃபஸ்ட்டு சென்டென்ஸில் ஸ்வீட் ஹனி ஸ்வீட்டுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்கோம், ஹனின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. ஸோ ஹனி மீன்ஸ் இட் இஸ் ஸ்வீட். இன் த செகண்ட் சென்டென்ஸ் வாட் இஸ் செட்? பிட்டர். So bitter na the bitter taste, you know what is bitter taste. So both are contrast in meaning. Okay, so this is the meaning of paradox, right? So you should not confuse paradox between oxymoron. Oxymoron or figures of speech படிச்சிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? So what is oxymoron? So this is also a contrast between the words. Okay, paradox is a contrast between two sentence or phrase. But oxymoron is a contrast between words. Two words which will be, those two words will be placed very closer. And the ரெண்டு words எப்படி இருக்கும்? It will be placed very closer. Okay. And for example, இதிலேயே சொல்லலாம் truth is bitter. Okay. Suppose truth is bitter. அப்படின்னா so what is truth is bitter? Truth nale it will be good to hear. Okay, so bitter na it is opposite to goodness. So truth is bitter. So both are opposite. So these two words are placed very together. So we can call this as an example for the figure of speech oxymoron. Okay, I hope you can understand the difference between paradox and oxymoron. And okay, so let me give you one more example for paradox. I must be cruel. Okay, to be kind. I must be cruel to be kind. So I must be cruel, I must be kind. So these are two contrasting. Cruel is contrasting to kindness, right? And I'll give you one more example. This is the this is the beginning of the end. This is the beginning of the end. So beginning, end. Okay, so these two are contrasting. See, listen. Oxymoron abdina contrast between two words, and the two words it will be very closer. Okay, so paradox is the contrast between two sentences or between two phrases. Okay, so this is the difference between paradox and oxymoron. Now let us see how this is an example for the paradox. So what is in this? I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. So good riddance abdina eppada povanga nenikirathu. Goodbye na, okay, bye, we will meet you tomorrow. That is the meaning of goodbye, right? So these two are contrasting. To say glad to meet you without being glad. So nijamave ungala meet pandradhula we don't gain any happiness. Irundhalum what we are telling, glad to meet you, happy of meeting you. So these two are contrasting phrases. Next one, it's been nice talking to you after being bored. So really it is bored of talking to him. Irundhalum we will be telling it's been nice talking to you. Okay, so these two are contrasting. So that's why the figures of speech in these sentences are paradox. P-A-R-A-D-O-X, paradox. Can you understand? So that's all is the figures of speech in these lines. Okay, let me have a short sum up of what are the figures of speech. So we have seen the figures of speech in ice block, cold ice as metaphor. Okay, then and we have seen like dresses, simile, like a fixed portrait, smile, simile. When I have learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, paradox. To say glad to meet you without being bored, paradox. It's been nice talking to you after being bored, paradox. And here, when I was like you, simile. Shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs, simile. I used to smile once upon a time when I was like you, simile. Okay, so apart from this, you might be asked about alliteration. You know what is alliteration? Two words sounding same in a sentence. Okay, in a line. That is called as alliteration. Two consonant words sounding same. That is alliteration. If two vowels are sounding same, it is called as assonance. Apart from this, I think you know, every one of you know how to identify rhyme scheme and the rhyming words in the poem. Okay, so for example, in this stanza, sun, house, smile, you. There are no rhyming words here. So in this stanza, sun, be, want, things, relearn, mirror, fangs. There is things, fangs. We can say it as a rhyming word, right? So like this, you can, I think every one of you know how to identify the rhyming words and the rhyme scheme in the poem. Hope every one of you have understood the figures of speech in the poem Once Upon a Time by Gabriel Okara. Right. So thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye.